Hey, happy Tuesday. Welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Glad to be back with another episode. Great episode coming up. Let's go. All right, welcome to another episode of The Real Deal. Once again, I'm your host, Courtney Harden. Glad to be back with another great episode on deck. Returning guest, I'm very excited. I really enjoyed the first time she was on the show. And so had to bring her back. As we said, she's podcast family. So she's no guest now. She's family now. So, but I'll bring her back and I'll bring her in a few minutes. But before we get started, thank you guys, everyone is tuning in live on Facebook, Twitter X, YouTube, BS3TVLive.com, the BS3 network YouTube channel, their sports channel as well. We're on Spreaker. We're also on, like I said, Roku. You can follow the show at Get the Real Deal on all social media platforms, whether it's I said Instagram, TikTok, Google, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all those channels there. And then we're also on Spotify, Apple, however you consume podcasts, you can get the show there. So not gonna keep my podcast family long in the wings. Welcome back to the show, Ainka Jess. You know her. If you've seen her content online, you know her. Shes4Sports is the network. It's a little bit of everything. She's, like I said, the creator of that, the founder of Shes4Sports as well. She's also a sports executive professor. The resume is long, so but she's back on storyteller, marketer. She's doing a little bit of everything. So Ainka, thank you for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me back again, Courtney.
Yes, for sure. And I know your name. It just got tongue tied a little bit there.
That's okay.
Yeah. So, but thank you for coming on. We've been, like I said, I love our connection. Love that we've networked and been brought together, and for the love of networking, sports, and things like that. So, but how's everything going with you? We were just talking about the plane crash. You're in Canada, but the plane crash there in Toronto, and prayers and thoughts are with everyone there, and everything too. It's been a real crazy times this year with a lot of plane crashes in a lot of different places. But how's everything going? I'm glad that you and your family are safe as well.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's incredible. I believe there were about 80 people on the flight, and there was no deaths, no casualties. There were some people that had some injuries, so we were just happy everybody was safe. But it's that time of year where everybody's traveling, whether it's for vacation or for business. And, we're also dealing with winter weather in Toronto and Canada. So it hasn't been easy for the last couple of days, but glad that nobody was seriously, hurt in terms of, there weren't any casualties or any deaths.
Yeah, definitely. That's the main thing. No casualties, no deaths, and like you said, that it's just what's going on in this world. We just don't know what what all this is, but we just keep praying and that things will turn around and everything too. But so again, founder of Shes4Sports Media. And just for the intro, amplify the voices of women in sports, which you are key component of this, and with the movement as well, with your company and the content and the events that you've done. So you do a lot for the community, for the sports and things like that. So congratulations on all the success that you've had, and continuous success as well.
Thank you. Yes, it's been busy times.
Yeah,
very exciting times though in women's sports. Right?
Women's sports. I mean, you got March Madness will be here soon in about about a month's time. So that'll be coming up. And but you got Unrivaled, which you were there a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And I remember we were talking about that. And when I asked you to come on the show, you're like, well, I'm going to travel to Miami and get some content so we can talk about your experience there. So let's start there. Start with Unrivaled.
Yeah.
And how was your experience, which has been this 3-on-3 tournament? They just completed the 1v1 tournament, 1-on-1 tournament as well, which was it's been great. It's been just great basketball and
Oh yeah.
the storytelling and things like that. But you had a front row seat there with that. But what was your experience like going there live and getting content and just your overall experience of this tournament?
It was a 10, more than a 10. It was phenomenal. Just kind of leaving Toronto, kind of heading out there, and I did tune into the launch of Unrivaled. I believe it was either January 15th or January 17th, but was
Right.
watching up right from the beginning. And what I saw from tuning in on social media in Canada, we get it on TSN Plus, and I was happy that they were able to announce that. They announced it sort of
Yeah.
kind of at the not last minute, but just we were holding on, waiting to see for it to launch. How are we going to watch this? And glad that it is obviously on TNT, but then now in for us in Canada, we have it on TSN Plus. So lots of people tuning in, and just exciting. Exactly what I saw on TV, the type of competition. Like these women are not leaving any ball untouched. Everybody, it gets a little scrappy sometimes.
Yeah.
Seeing that translate and the excitement, going to Miami, going to the actual Wayfair Arena, which I'm not sure if all of your viewers know that it wasn't an existing arena. They
Yep.
actually had to develop this arena, and in an area where I believe it's a production studio. So it was interesting to kind of see what they were able to develop and put together. There's a fan zone outside if you want to kind of shoot a few hoops, take some photos. We all like taking selfies. There's the merch shop, and then obviously the incredible talent once you get to the game. So they do create a community for folks who want to, be a part of Unrivaled and see what it's about and feel like you're participating in it. So I had a lot of fun. Where I sat, I did sit courtside, but for anyone going, all the seats are really good. You
Yeah.
definitely get a good view of the court. And when some of the players weren't playing on their team, they were in the stands, and they were really, really kind to take
Mhm.
photos and give autographs to fans. So you really felt like you were right in the thick of it, and it was just electric. I didn't want to leave, right?
Yeah.
But I had to come back, and our community here, following Shes4Sports, mainly in Canada, but we do have some American followers. They were excited, commenting on our posts and stuff. We tried to turn
Yeah.
around all the content as fast as we could. We did get some interviews with some of the WNBA players that are playing in Unrivaled. So it was all around. It was fun as a fan and as a play and as a somebody who's developing women's content and wanting to amplify women's sports content, I should say. And I was really glad I had the chance to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I saw the content, and as we were talking, as I said, we talked off camera. And when we reach out, and when I reached out, and you were saying that, yeah, I'm going to get some content, and you can't. I'm excited to go. You're going as a fan, but you also were saying I want to get some content, and it seems like it is, like you said, they're very accessible.
Yes.
When and I think that was the one of the main things that they wanted it to be accessible for the fans, for media, because I'm getting so much now that I'm on their media, getting emails through media. They send they send the game notes, they send
Mm-hmm.
the Zoom links, and I've had some great content and interviews too, which I've been glad to. Because I did try to go for credentials, but at that time there was they got so many people already covering it. But they said you
Yes.
could cover it by Zoom, by virtual. I was like, yes, put me on that list. and
Mm-hmm.
they're very said their media communications is very very accessible, and you can reach out to them if you ask them if we can meet with a player, or and then they have their players come on the Zoom for about 10-15 minutes each, and they answer the question, coaches as well. So yeah, it's been a lot of I've enjoyed it, and I knew I would because it's basketball's competition, and and it's money. There's a lot of money at
On the
stake too,
line, yes.
on the line. So there's a lot of money on the line. So
Mhm.
so yeah. So when you went and said you were going, I was like, oh, I can't wait till she comes back because
Oh,
we gotta definitely
yeah.
talk about this. And so yes, because and I've heard from others that's went there. They said it's almost like a party in a way
Yeah,
too.
there's a DJ there.
Yeah.
There's somebody that's obviously hyping up
Yeah.
the fans and doing things during, there are times when we have a break. So, you get your snacks, you have a DJ, you can have it's a vibe. It's a vibe,
Yeah.
and everybody was having fun. I think what I obviously like too was talking to some of the fans and the fan zone.
Yes.
Why did why are you so excited about women's basketball? Why, how did you get here?
Mm.
What was the story? And there were a couple of fans that I ran into that were there saying that their kids bought them tickets, or their husband, the lady she had sitting near me, her husband bought her tickets for Christmas. And she was happy that that was the present, unrivaled
Yeah.
tickets. So we met fans from all across the states, and people were just excited. I know one young woman I spoke to was a basketball player. I think in varsity, at the varsity level, and she just wanted to
Right.
support because she felt like, I know what they're going through. I'm a baller, I'm a hooper as well, and I follow these women and their role models. So you had young kids, you had
Yeah.
people that are in their 50s and 60s. You had different types of people, men and women,
Mm.
just people really excited about women's basketball, professional basketball, and also that these women, as you mentioned, are getting paid. We haven't
Yeah.
really seen a league like this where these women are getting paid to play, and I believe also the first 36 players. For this inaugural season, have some a part of the equity, a stake in the
Yes.
equity of the team. So all around, it's amplifying women's sports, their voices, but also paying them for their time, their value, their skill
Yep.
sets, and it's just all excitement around it, all of it, and just the
Yes.
fans are really supportive of it. That's what you definitely see when you're there.
Yes, for sure. And like I said, with the content you had put out too, just seeing it. Come together because I remember when Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart announced this, and because they're the founders of this league along with Nafisa Collier's husband, co-founders of this league. They talked that they were just trying to get investors, and when they
Yeah.
started, because I remember them announcing this about a year ago, maybe almost 2 years now. And they was just trying to make sure that they got the right investors, the right people in place, and to make it a very as comfortable as possible for the players and the athletes on top of top of the money,
Yes.
so they can get paid and get that equity stake as well. So I think he says this inaugural season has definitely been a success, and it just keeps getting better. The competition is fierce. To
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about that, talk about that more about the competition that what you saw in person, how
Oh,
it does get
yeah.
scrappy, it does get physical. We just came off the one-on-one tournament where these women were they were like, we throwing ego out the door. We just want to win, and it was money at stake. And then the winner got the Fisa Collier beat up Leah Edwards in the
Yes.
final, but the team, her team, whoever won, their team gets money too. So get a
Yes.
piece of that.
Everybody walked away with something.
Something, right? So, but talk about that. Yeah, talk about the
Yeah.
competition that what you saw when you were there.
Yeah, I love that sort of saying of, you get a bag, I get a bag. We're all going to
Yeah, you
walk
get a
away
bag
with
out of it.
something.
Yeah,
So,
y'all get a bag. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
they definitely play, with their heart, and they play with
Yeah.
passion, and the game is
Mhm.
fast, and it's a full court 3-on-3 basketball in the, their sort of regular tournament, and the one-on-one, and everybody was sweating, everybody,
Yes.
it's a lot, for some people who don't really sort of know how competitive that could be, and vigorous, rigorous, I should
Mhm.
say, for your body to be, you don't have anyone to pass, to shoot to, and take a breather and take a beat. You're
Right.
going at full speed. So we are excited that Aaliyah Edwards, she gave it all she got, and kind of came second there,
Yep.
almost kind of took it all, but
Almost
she
pulled it off.
also walked away with $50,000. And I
Yeah.
believe the one-on-one tournament, I think read somewhere on Unrivaled email or content that that was sort of, you don't see that type of money being given to professional women players in that type of
Right.
tournament. So that could have been even the highest paid money, being given out and doled out during a tournament. So that was very exciting. But what you see is, as I said, the passion, the heart. No one's leaving. Everyone's leaving everything on the court. No,
Hmm.
even though there could be some of the players who play together on a WNBA team, when they're playing for Unrivaled, you're my enemy. You hear that.
Yeah.
You're on another team, I'm on another team, and we're going to scrap. And they really played with their hearts, and the physicality was there. They want to win every night.
Yep.
Nobody, is slacking off. Everybody wants to win every night. And you see that with the Owls, with Nafisa's team. I believe they're undefeated.
Yeah. They're still undefeated. Yeah.
They're still undefeated, so they want to win every night. I have a video clip on my phone. I haven't posted yet, but I'm going to post it, and it's Angel Reese, and she was diving for a ball, and I can't remember if she got into lane traffic with somebody, and she dove down and like was right at the courtside area where I was, and you
Yeah.
almost want to like help the person get up, or you almost, human reaction. You want to reach out. So that's how
Right.
close these players are, and that's how physical the game is, and they're giving it their all. Like they're on the ground diving, trying to get back at, doing the rebounds, passing the ball, going hard at the net. And it's physical. It was very
Yeah.
physical. So I'm gonna post that this week. I just, what it's like when you capture so much content. We did a recap video. We did some of the interviews with the players, but
Yeah. Hmm.
you always, as a content creator or a videographer, you get as much as you get more than you need. So
Yes.
I'm still kind of fangirling as a fan, looking through my phone, like,
Right.
oh yeah, I took that. I took that. I didn't post that yet. But it
Yeah.
was everything. It's the atmosphere, the physicality, the competition, in the fan zone, and even fans attending. It's the fits. We got the tunnel walks, and we know
Oh
fashion has
yeah.
become such a huge part of sports for men and for women. Those brands, those brand partnerships, and just personal branding and style as a player. Everybody represents themselves differently. And we did take some snaps of some of the fans, what they were wearing, some of the players, myself, had to represent Toronto.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah. Yeah. You're
Well,
representing.
so yeah, the fashion, the DJ, the music, the physicality, it was just community of fun. And as I said, I wish I could have stayed longer. I'm excited to hear tonight that the playoffs start, because obviously we're kind of winding down a bit now with
Yeah.
the league, and the overall tournament. I do believe it ends at the end of March, around there. So
Yes.
I
Hmm.
can't wait to see if the Owls are going to still, come on top and be undefeated. But quite excited to see the competition as the playoffs begin tonight.
Me too. I can't wait to see it all winding down. It's like, oh my goodness, I forget. Yeah, it's because I think it was 7 weeks. It's supposed to be seven
Yeah.
weeks and
Yeah.
seven,
And
eight
that's why we
weeks.
wanted to kind of go at the beginning. I
Yeah.
bought my tickets and planned this, sort of around the December kind of month last year. And
Right.
shout out to Tish, the communications person at Unrivaled. Uh,
Yes.
they're
Yes.
very organized, very helpful. So,
Hmm.
as a media outlet, Shes4Sports, we were there. We were able to get some content during shootout practice in the morning before
Yep.
the game started. So, connecting with the players, kind of getting some behind the scenes. And then we did attend the game in the evening. And when you do go, you get to see two games. If your
Mm.
viewers are not
Yeah.
familiar with sort of
Yep.
how it works, you see two games. So, you're getting double the fun, with sort of one price of ticket. And it's a great evening. You get two games, you get to see teams just battle it out, and it's pretty exciting and competitive, as I said earlier.
Very competitive, and you're right. We gotta get into the fashion too, because I saw you out there
Mm-hmm.
doing your
I had
thing with the
to.
fashion. Of course, yeah, yes,
I had
doing your thing
to.
with the fashion. And you said they got that fashion runway, and they fans in general, but the players got to show out too.
Oh
It gives
yeah.
them an opportunity to really. Put their, they say their Sunday's best, if they want to call it, so we used to call it back then. But your fashion, you do your, gotta represent. And it's I've been enjoying it too. And
Oh
like I
yeah.
said, they got, yeah, shout out to Tish Carmona, who's been putting all the media, putting it all together. He said she's been sending out the Zoom links, and she sends it out every week. Say, hey, you want to, and we have an opportunity. Like sometimes with some other leagues, even with Zoom, they don't get a chance. You don't get a chance virtually to ask questions. She
Mhm.
comes to every single person who raises her hand with their entire media, their entire media communications team.
Yes.
Lets us all at least ask one, maybe two, and it just depends on the time. And I know it's timing and with the
Yes,
athletes and
sometimes
coaches.
timing. Yep.
Yeah, but she gives us an opportunity, and their team gives an opportunity to really ask a couple of questions. And like I said, the players and the coaches have been very receptive and very because I think they're excited about this league in itself too. So
Oh
I'm looking,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to see how the first season ends, and then how bigger this is can get to. One more before we get into the fashion things like that. I want to ask you about with the pay and the amenities that they have there. Is the WNBA, are they looking into that? Like, what's your take on, like, because there's been talks about some of the players have said, wow, they've treated us sometimes a little bit better than the W. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, what have you seen, as you said, as plugged in as you are, or heard anything about, like, okay, the WNBA, even though the WNBA is the league, that's the top league, but you get something like this that pays a lot of money. W kind of like, okay, we got to take a little bit from what they're doing too, and implement it into the WNBA upcoming seasons.
I'll definitely say that everybody's probably looking. If they're not saying they're not
Yeah,
watching Unrivaled
right.
to see what's going to
True.
happen, they're
Yeah,
lying because I don't have the exact stat, but I feel like the last time I read, even viewership for the NBA has gone down. I think
oh yeah.
about
Mhm.
40%.
Yes.
So I think everyone's watching this league to see what's really exciting the fans. How are fans engaging? And I can say, Nafisa and Stewie, putting the team together, and as somebody who's in marketing and communications,
Yeah,
sometimes people don't think that they can do a lot on a certain budget. And this is a brand new league. I believe seating is about under 1,000 at Unrivaled. I think it's about
I think
850.
so. Yep, just under, I think,
Smaller
900.
court,
Yeah,
but highly, highly professional product, competitive product. And you are amazed at just and excited at all the investors that came on. Wayfair, Sprite, I know, is the sponsor for the one-on-one tournament, and Sprite obviously is a huge brand. So I think bringing in those sponsors. I
hmm,
know on, is it Ali or Ali? Is that the insurance company or a financial
yeah,
company?
yep.
Ali, yeah, they've got the a financial sponsor. I think just
Yes,
bringing on the right sponsors, but also the sponsors see the value in Unrivaled. That's why they partner with them, right? So they were
yep.
able to show the value. And it's very exciting to kind of see all of that come together and look what you can
Hmm.
do when you've
Yeah,
got the right investments, you've
make
got
the
the right
investors. Yeah.
product, the
Hmm.
website is professional, the as we said, connecting with the players, it has been seamless.
Yep.
And sometimes other leagues can be out for so long and have had 50 years, and there's trying to remain relevant, right? And that's what's happening
Yeah.
now. They're trying to connect with new fans. You might have that market of the old fans, but how are you engaging new fans, younger fans, women, um, people from different countries, right? So I
Yeah.
think that's the challenge right now for a lot of the leagues that have been around for a long time, and are losing viewership. How do you make people come back? How can you kind of change things up a little bit? Whether it's the one-on-one tournament, we're seeing a lot of chatter online about the all-star weekends, whether it's hockey or basketball. Like, fans have been kind of tuning out.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people are looking at Unrivaled to kind of see, what have they done to kind of get fans and get them engaged and build community. And I'm just so excited for them because I can say, traveling from Canada to Miami, it's a very, very good product. As I said, you hear from fans, and they can't stop talking about it and saying, I just jumped in my car from Illinois and I'm going to drive to go see
Hmm.
Unrivaled. People are really committed. The fans love the connection that you can get with the players. We
Yep.
love the fashion. Because as you know, there's a lot of debates on, can you like both? And as a woman, I can only speak to myself. Speak about myself. I can like fashion and I can like sports at the same time, right?
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
And you can meet other fans who maybe aren't there for the fashion but really love the sport, or they just want the merch, or they're there. We've met lots of people who said they're not diehard sports fans, but they came with a friend because they want to support their friend. A lot of
Mhm.
women like to be in environments where women are empowered. So there was that too. So
Yeah.
and safe spaces. I've heard from LGBTQ plus, fans. People just felt safe there. So in some sports, some people don't feel safe going to a game, or some people might get into fights and stuff like that. So I think Unrivaled has really built a beautiful community,
Yeah.
a community that's committed. You're getting people flying all over to come and see what this is all
Yes.
about.
Yes.
And really just kind of riding with the WNBA players. These are people, these are fans who've been following some of these players from when they were playing in at the varsity college level, and then now they're in the WNBA. So it's just beautiful to see. But I think Unrivaled has something special. It felt very magical being there. And I hope, as you said, there will be some expansion where maybe
Yes.
they will be able to play in a larger facility, or
Yep.
get that sort of that treatment that we're seeing in sort of the NBA. But it's still hopeful. I did see the other day that Portland, obviously I know Portland's going to be getting a WNBA team, and I know they
Yep.
have a soccer team out there. So there was some talk about the both of the teams sharing a brand new training facility. So
Mm. Yeah.
wherever the expansion, the investments can go to improve, the resources, improve the facilities for women in sport, it only makes the sport better. But I do know Unrivaled really went, you know, they went above and beyond for players. We're
Yes, they
talking
did.
about daycare or some sort of a facility to care for the children of the players
Yeah.
while they're playing. I do believe the players want to be just treated with respect, treated with as humans. Like, we're going to play, but we also need childcare, and that's, let's set that up.
Yeah.
And not kind of create these barriers and hoops for them to have to go through just to play, right? So I think the more we see examples of how it should be, with the childcare, with the treating and play and providing them with compensation that aligned with their value, we're going to see way more excitement. We're going to see way more bums and seats. We're going to see fans tuning in on social and really pushing that viewership when all those pieces come together. And I feel like Unrivaled, they've been able to do it.
Yeah, amen to all of that. No, for real. I mean, that's very well said. And got a couple comments in here too from Nitha Ramasandra from the Nitha Sports Rush. I know it was in our sports show. He said this is awesome. He agrees. He said, "Yep." He does say, "Yep." I agree with everything you said there. Unrivaled is the best.
Mm-hmm.
He said he's had opportunity to join a few of the Zoom meetings. Yep, we've been together just doing that. So appreciate the shout outs and everything too. He said the league is fantastic and a good experience for the players. Yeah, for all the players, it is. It really is. And what you had said about the facilities, the investors, these
Mm-hmm.
brands, and we talked about this in our first conversation about the branding and the investors and the endorsements, and Unrivaled has just taken it to the next level. And another point you brought up about the NBA All Star, we just had that, and it was a letdown. It wasn't great, and then they're trying to make some changes, and All Star Weekend is not good. So now you had some of the media was asking, I think Rachel Nichols was asking, like, Kyrie Irving, have you been watching Unrivaled? Have you been watching the one on one? Could they do this? And yeah, the NBA should do this. And he's like, yes. He's like, yes. And they said, what would it take? And they say money, but the fans would love it because you're thinking, I think I did ask somebody, it might have been Nafisa when I asked her last week about that. Like, can you see the NBA doing something like this? And she said she definitely could see that some of the biggest stars could do it. But she said it's all about for them. She said, I'm just talking as a woman. For the men, it's all about their ego. They don't, they don't want to be embarrassed and things like that. She said we put it on the line. Like,
Oh yeah.
we're putting ourselves out there, like you said earlier. They're putting out there and playing that way, and they're like, hey, it's one on one. You might get embarrassed, you might not, but we're out there to compete and try to win. So I think the NBA and the players themselves, they love competition, but you got to put that ego aside and just like, hey, if I'm going to come out there, I have a chance I might lose. I mean, how do you think Brianna Stewart felt when she lost 12-0 to to Leah
Aaliyah
Edwards.
Edwards, yeah.
Edwards, but she's like, hey, we know Stewie's one of the greatest players of all time. But in a one-on-one situation, there's a chance that you might get beat, and there's a chance that Aaliyah Edwards got hot and was hitting those threes and really put her in the game and said, "Hey, I'm here too. I belong here too. I'm a baller itself." And the NBA player is gonna just have to, if you sign up, there's a chance that you go out there and just compete, and everything else is out the window. It's just all about one-on-one. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
the NBA should take that idea from Unrivaled and have that to spice up the All-Star weekend.
Yeah, I for years watched the All Star Weekend, and obviously being
Me
from
too.
Canada, and
Yeah.
we've all saw when Vince Carter had that amazing dunk
Yes.
and
Mm-hmm.
dunks, I should say,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
won the slam dunk competition and really put Toronto, on the map with the Raptors. So I think definitely fans here, every year after that and before, you're trying to tune in to see, is it going to be that exciting? And you're right, it has lost a bit of its luster or juice, and we hear that from fans. It would be nice to see them being open to change
Yeah.
and changing up the tournament and a little bit. I know they tried to do something different with the format of the All-Star game with the
Yeah.
3 or 4 different teams,
Yeah.
Chuck's team, Shaq's
14.
teams,
Yeah.
Candace's team, and was it
Kenny
Kenny's
Smith's
team?
team. Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I think what I was reading online from fans in terms of their feedback, they were just saying there was so much time allotted to the interstitial piece of, ads and commercials, and then, the
Yeah.
host. I know they had Kevin Hart hosting
Kevin
it,
Hart.
and
Yeah.
other things that you do. And when I say interstitials, meaning other little separate segments within the tournament, whether it's, a game thing, and or Kevin Hart's
Mm-hmm.
given them, I think he gave them fishing rods or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yep.
people were kind
Mm-hmm.
of complaining that they didn't see a lot of time allotted to actual gameplay. It was more the other things, kind of beyond, outside of the gameplay. So
Yep.
I think you're right. They could learn a lot from Unrivaled what they're doing. The answer, I'm not saying that's the full answer, but I think the NBA could be open to looking at other possibilities of what could the NBA All-Star weekend look like, because, fans, at the end of the day, the weight of what fans think, is going to weigh heavily on them, especially as we talked about at the top of the call with this about 40%. I don't even know, it could be more viewership going down for the NBA, right? So how
Yeah.
do we kind of bring that number back up? And they're going to have to think about some things. I know they had the 3-point shootout with Sabrina Ionescu the year before with
Yeah.
Steph
Yeah.
Curry.
Steph Curry. Yeah. They had
And
that.
I
They were
know
trying
they
to do it
were
again.
they
Mm-hmm.
were trying to ask Caitlin Clark to do it, but I think from what I read that she wants to do that in the WNBA All-Star
Yeah.
weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there'll be some new pieces to this All-Star weekend. I think fans are looking for that, because it's not the same as it used to be, and I think people understand that things can change, but it's not that interesting. I think I had it on and I was trying to follow along, but I also was watching, I believe hockey was on as well too, that Four
Yeah.
Nations
Hockey. Yeah.
tournament.
Their tournament. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Mm-hmm.
mean, as a sports fan in general, just watching different sports, a lot of the times you might be clicking on or split screen, or you might have your phone on a second screen watching another sport. So I think that All-Star weekend, they kind of have to try to figure out what they can do to kind of get our eyes back on the weekend, because I think based on people I talked to as well, we're flipping back and forth, but I didn't feel like it was that interesting. I can say the three-peat with McClung winning the
Yeah.
dunk, that was interesting. I know he
Yeah. That was
dunked
probably the
over
best part
the
of it, of All
car.
Star Weekend. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think was it Clarence? Was that his last name? The other guy that kind of
Oh.
sort of as a
Stefan Castle. Yeah.
Oh,
From
Castle. Sorry, I knew it was a
Castle. From
C.
Yeah.
He
Castle.
had
Yep.
a couple of good dunks too, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay. I was like, okay, I'm following along now. But if it's not for the slam dunk competition, and if people are just tuning in for that, then they've got to kind of go back and figure out how to make the whole thing sort of,
Yeah.
interesting from beginning to end, and not just people tuning in for the slam dunk competition and then kind of tuning out, because you'll see the numbers dipping, right?
Yep, of course, yeah, yeah, and I've been, like I said, I've been an NBA basketball fan for a long time, and All Star Weekend used to be like one of the biggest events,
Yeah.
and just sit around and watch it, and even these last couple seasons, the one thing I do give the NBA, they're trying to do something different.
Yes.
As you said, they had the four team tournaments with I think 7, 8 players on each team, and they tried that. And I wasn't. I know it's the first year, but I just wasn't really a fan because it didn't really give some of the players, because once you're out, you're out. Like that's it. And some players, they might not even become an all-star again, and they get their one opportunity, and they play to 40. It just didn't seem like enough to really enjoy it too. And then you said they had all this airtime. It got the players out of rhythm. I
Yeah.
know there was complaints of, like I said, Kevin Hart was too much. It was too much Kevin Hart, maybe they said, and I've heard it
Yeah.
all. We were talking, and even what you said, even with All Star Week, with the dunk contest, Mac McClung did definitely the three-peat. I thought that was probably the highlight of the weekend, of him three-peating, and he definitely did his thing with it. But the 3-point contest was even lackluster, and that used to be one of the highlights
Oh yeah,
of
that
the
was it.
weekend. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it wasn't. I mean, Tyler Hero went in and shot the lights out, but it just didn't seem like, it's like, and I wasn't even really paying attention. And then the dunk contest, I turned it on. It was on the dunk contest at the time, and
Yeah.
I keyed in a little bit of that. But yeah, they need, like I said, they need something different. They need to
Put just
put
some
something in it.
seasoning on it.
The
They got to shake
seasoning
it
on it,
up.
put a little bit of seasoning on it.
Yeah, it's got to shake it up a bit.
The Sabrina Steph was exciting last year. That
Yes.
was the best part of All Star Weekend
Yeah.
last season. So, and they, like I said, they tried it again. You're right, Caitlin Clark. They were trying to have a 2-on-2 type of thing. Sabrina and Caitlin, again, so it was supposed to be the Splash Brothers, Steph and Clay. But I don't blame Caitlin that she wants to do her first 3-point competition in the
Yeah.
W. So,
Yeah.
of course, like, and then plus she's rested. She's enjoying the off
Oh
season.
yeah, like because it's a lot.
Yeah, she's enjoying all season and all the moves they made too. But she's enjoying the off season, and with the rest she needs. But yeah, she wants to do that, and I can see. I was just telling my wife. I said, now the NBA should come to the WNBA All Star Game, and they have something like that. Have Stephen Clay come and do the shooting competition, 3-point shooting competition against Caitlin and Sabrina with in the WNBA All Star Weekend.
Yeah,
That
like like a bit of a crossover.
crossover, yeah, let
Yeah.
that happen. I mean, I would love to see something like that, and then you can have a part two of that in the NBA All Star Weekend. But the one on one, I agree. I think they need to
Yeah.
implement that and
Oh
have
yeah.
that for the just get 12 players or whatever and have the tournament and put some money on the line, some big money on the line, and there'll be a lot of. I think there's a lot of good one-on-one players and in the NBA. So yeah, but I won't keep you too much longer. I know like we can talk forever. We gotta when the WNBA season before it starts. I want to have you back on, and we got to discuss like all the moves and everything too. That's a whole nother
Yeah, yeah.
whole other free
That's
agency.
one thing while I was in Miami. You're a content producer
Mhm.
and journalist, so when you're getting content, there's some things that you can ask and some things
Yes,
maybe people
yeah.
don't want to talk about.
Hmm.
But I do know while I was there, just the buzz in the air around the free trades and who was going,
Yeah.
who
Hmm.
was going where, and free trade agency and all that stuff. And it was interesting because you don't want to talk about it. Then you get up in the morning and you see who's been traded to that team.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
we did talk to Kate Martin, and she, I believe, was playing with the Vegas team, the
The
Aces.
Aces at the
Yes,
time. Yep. Hmm.
and then
Hmm.
now she's going to be with the Valkyries.
Golden
When the
State. Yeah.
Valkyries is
Hmm.
an expansion team, the newest team in the WNBA, who will be starting
Yep.
playing in May. So we were able to ask her about that, but there were a lot of other people who, you could hear the buzz in the room, like maybe you could shoot that way, but don't shoot that player because they might be
Yeah.
on another team. So when you're a journalist or a content producer, there are obviously some rules you have to follow when you're getting content as media. So that was very interesting to kind of to see as like sort of chatter and another side of going to Unrivaled with the WNBA free trade agency and all that stuff that was going on in the
Yeah.
backdrop. That was very interesting to also see as well. So I'm excited to see how the Valkyries do. New team in
Mhm.
San Francisco, kickoff in May, and then in Canada, our team starts in 2026. But
Yep.
in August of this year, we're actually going to be hosting in Vancouver the first regular season WNBA game. So we've
Mm.
had a couple of preseason games, WNBA games come to Canada
Yeah.
over the years, but this is the first time it's going to be a regular season game in August. So I'm hoping to get to that in Vancouver, and hopefully if I get there, I can also share some content. So it's going to be quite
Yeah.
a lot of
Forward to that.
fun things coming up for the WNBA.
Yes, this upcoming season and so many player movements.
Yes.
It felt like how NBA free agency usually is, or NFL free agency, how that usually is. I'm so glad that the WNBA they there was so much movement, and you said there was so much chatter. It was almost like recruitment was happening at Unrivaled, and all the chatter and all the talk was happening there at Unrivaled, and there was so much recruiting. I remember BG was talking about, yeah, there was people were asking me and recruiting and recruiting me to come, and now she's on the Atlanta Dream from Phoenix. So it's like all the movement. I was trying to keep up. There was so much movement happening with all the players and things like that. And Hannah got they're loaded and everything. So much is going on in the W. So looking forward to that. I wanted to ask you about your. Are you still there? Oh, I think we just lost Ainka's. So I just saw that she was frozen. So we're just going to ask her a couple. Hopefully, she comes back on. Ask her a couple more questions, and then I'll let her go. But yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Unrival, please do. And check out some of the content that Ainka and myself and other content producers and creators um, have put out, and really this league 3-on-3, and it's been amazing. The play has been great. The content has been great. A lot of different things going on. The one-on-one tournament, as we talked about, was tremendous. If you like competition and you just love basketball in itself, this was a really good one-on-one. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the season with Unrivaled. So let's see if we can get Ainka back. Let's see if I'm just letting it roll here and see if not. Then 'cause I just want to ask her one more question. Maybe her connection went down, so I'm just gonna stay on and everything. So yep, she's trying to log back on. So she just uh, So I'm just gonna stay on here, and if you guys have any questions, let me know in the chat with Facebook or YouTube. So and everything too, but yeah, I wanted to continue on just to talk to her for another about 5-10 minutes about. She's got a fashion show coming up, so I want to ask about that, and then we're gonna end with some Philadelphia Eagles chat because we're both Eagles fans, and they are the Super Bowl champions. Okay, there she is.
My apologies.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Huge
I know all
issue.
about. I know.
And that's
Hey,
never
they
happened before.
no, they know all about the technical issues and Wi-Fi and all
Yes.
that. It happens. It happens. No problem at all. No problem at all. But no, but I was just gonna say I was only gonna keep you for another 5 or so minutes anyway. But I wanted to ask you about you got a fashion show coming up that that you're talking about from runway to game day. It says join us for a fun event to discuss the intersection of sports and fashion. So
Yes.
we were talking a little bit about the fashion at the Unrivaled league and everything too, but that you're launching this. Talk a little bit about this event that's coming up, and it's in March, right? March
Yes,
27th.
March
So yeah,
27th.
talk about that. Talk
We're
about the
excited
event.
about it because
Yeah.
So much talk. We see a lot of it on our feeds with the tunnel walks, the fits, and not just in women's sports, men's sports too as well, and all the brands that are partnering with these athletes. But I think it's for fans, and it's an extension of their personality, right? We want
Mm,
to know more and more about our favorite athletes and the people we're following, how they dress, what they wear, and they have big platforms too to sort of set trends.
yeah,
So we are going to be hosting an event in Toronto on March 27th, if anybody's around or they can get to Toronto,
yeah,
just exploring that conversation around fashion and sports. We have a co-founder of a sports, a co-founder of an apparel company called Peace Collective, and they
mm,
also, sell sports related merch and other fashion items that you can kind of mix and match with your fits. I've bought some stuff from them as well. So just someone from sort of that apparel, retail
yeah,
space to talk about sort of the trends and what they've been seeing with athletes wear and fashion, athleisure wear, and that, and sort of the sort of excitement around fans and fashion. We have a two-time Olympian and a world champion, Perdita Felician. She's gone to the Olympics for track and field and a great
yeah,
Canadian athlete, but also as a broadcaster. So just kind of getting her perspective as an athlete, but also a broadcaster in sports, and sort of, her connection to fashion and her personal brand. And then we all are also featuring a stylist who
mm,
has worked with some, I believe, NBA players and outfitted them. So it's going to be an interesting talk. I think it's timely. As I said, we see it all over our feeds with the tunnel walks and the fits and various athletes posting which brands they're wearing and how they put their own personal style together. And I think we could all learn something from the conversation. But I'm really excited about it because I'm also somebody who likes fashion myself. And let
yeah.
me tell you, the fashion at Unrivaled, it was right up there. I put in my post, it kind of felt like I was at New York Fashion Week or a fashion week
Yeah,
because
yeah.
everybody was representing, their personal look and their style, and it's creative too, and it's exciting to see it.
Yeah, very exciting. And I saw that when you posted it, and I was like, oh yeah, this makes total sense.
Yeah.
Fashion and sports, and you love fashion, and just to have a panel talking about the intersection of fashion and sports, because you're right. You see it not just with the athletes, but the fans too. Like
Mm-hmm.
anybody that likes to love their, if you even wear a jersey to the game, or if you want to like to dress up, sneakers. I just came back from a sneaker con, my
Ooh.
second one here in Philly, and oh my goodness, you saw like the fashion, the sneakers. Like it's just you just want to just sit there, and we went to every booth. We just was looking around, and
Yes.
they had the merchant, they had the merch and the sneakers, and uh, there was people printing things and
Yeah, it's a
screen
big
printing.
business.
It's a big business, huge
Yeah.
business, and that was fun. That was hard. That's my second one. We went and yeah, I love fashion, love sneakers too. So it's
Yeah.
one of those things that, and on top of that, the love of sports. It just that makes total sense. So I'm looking forward to the content there, and seeing what goes on with the panel and the fashion show, and what you got going on with that as well.
And I'm glad
With
you
that
mentioned the
event.
fashion show piece. So we do have the panel, and then we'll have, a mini fashion show, we're calling it,
Yeah,
and we'll definitely showcase some of the clothing from the Peace Collective
yeah, yeah.
company. So I'm excited about that. And you talked about running shoes. I've got too many at the door. I have to stop.
Yes, yes,
If I was at a
totally.
sneaker con, I'd have to leave like my debit card and my credit
Yeah,
card at
yeah,
home because it
yes.
is. You can find every color of shoe to match your outfit, right?
Every color. You would be spending so much money. I'm like, okay, I got to limit this to, if I
Yeah.
get a pair, I got one pair. That's it. But
Yes,
it was
one
hard.
special pair.
Yeah, it was hard. It was very hard. But I bought a pair last year, and now a pair this year of sneakers. So yeah, I get it. I totally get it. But all right, last one before I let you go, I want to ask you about our Philadelphia Eagles winning the
Ah,
Super
yes.
Bowl. Yeah,
I
yes, winning the Super Bowl.
was like,
They had our Super
I
Bowl
wore my
59
Eagles
champion.
shirt.
I've been wearing Eagle stuff all week, all last two
Yeah,
weeks. I just
yeah.
put it. I had one yesterday. I had my hoodie on yesterday, um, but today I said, you know, I'm still celebrating. But what was your overall take on this Eagles season?
Oh,
Winning the
yeah.
Super Bowl, and I went to the parade, and my
How was
second
it?
one parade was
Good.
it was madness. It was great madness. It was a lot of people. It was over 1 million people,
Yeah.
and but it was great to be around all the Eagles fans coming together and
Hmm.
watching the players and uh yeah, the speeches. Yeah, it's my second one. I witnessed the first one too in 2017, 2018. Got to see that one, and now seeing this one, just seeing Saquon and Jalen Hurts
Yes.
and others, just the camaraderie of that team and the fans, the passionate Eagle fans coming together celebrating this. Yeah, it was fun. It was so much fun and amazing. But yeah, what was your take on the win, the Super Bowl, and
Yeah.
and
So,
everything?
there are Canadian Eagles fans.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
went to a sports bar, so I had my T-shirt on. I have a Jalen Hurts T-shirt, and I also just have like a general Eagles just green shirt.
Mhm.
But I believe I was wearing my Jalen Hurts one. There were a few people there that were cheering for the Chiefs, but we don't talk to them.
Yeah,
They're
keep
in the
them away.
back,
Yeah, yeah,
keep
they're
them
in the back.
away. But
Yes.
we were excited that they won. I mean, I think most fans and myself, we won a little bit of a game that had a little bit more sort of
Mm,
competition. It felt like
yeah.
the Chiefs couldn't get anything going until the fourth quarter, and you're waiting. You're thinking, okay, maybe after the halftime,
Yeah.
they'll kind of try to come back a little bit. But definitely the Eagles just kind of just took it away. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what was going on with the Chiefs. It seemed like they were trying to get something going at times, but it never worked. And maybe just the
Um,
defense of the Eagles were just better, and they just seemed more in the zone and focused and tapped in. And I can't remember what the player's name is, but he's the one that's always reading that book, that
oh,
mindfulness
AJ
book.
Brown.
It's
Yeah,
just
AJ
like
Brown.
and
Yeah.
I do, yeah, and I did see. I believe AJ Brown. Well, there was a play where we thought it was going to go through, and then I can't remember if it was what there was a flag that was thrown, and then we didn't get that. But I
Yeah.
like seeing AJ sort of in his glory. Because we do talk a lot about Saquon a lot,
Mm,
right? So it
yeah.
was nice to see AJ get his shine. But I do know some of the broadcasters went back to him reading his book or sneaking that book in. And I just seemed like the Eagles had gameplay, they were focused,
Yes.
and they had the confidence right off the bat. I believe
Mhm.
they did get the first touchdown. So I
Yeah.
think whoever kind of draws the first blood, usually that confidence is there, right? You're up
Yeah.
on the board
Mhm.
first.
Yep.
It seemed like they had a lot of confidence going into the game. But as a Canadian fan, people to go to bars and stuff. We did too, big flat screen TV,
Yeah.
and just excitement. It was excitement all around that they won, and I was happy for them. Jalen Hurts, I know I do follow him, and I see that he has got a team of all women, a
Yes.
management,
Mhm.
whether it's marketing, his agent and his media relations person. So it's good to kind of see that as well. The stories about women who work in sports or women who work in the league. And then there was the story, I think her name was I want to say like Alicia Lockwood, but I don't know if that's her full name. She became the first Black woman to win,
Yeah.
I think,
Yep.
a Super Bowl as on the
Yes.
team. I don't remember exactly if she's an assistant coach or what her role is, but it's nice to kind of see those stories as well, because it does take a team, a league, an
Yes.
organization to get you there. It's, yes, it is, the main two stars, Jalen and Saquon, but it also is the sort of team around them.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
for
I had a
sure.
lot of fun. As I said, I didn't care how they were going to win. I was like, as long
As
as
long
they
as they
win,
win, yeah, and then they
yeah, and took some photos, and yeah,
did it in a dominant fashion. And
yes, very
now
dominant.
I didn't expect that type of win, but
Yeah,
I
it was
knew they were gonna
surprising.
win. They went it. They went in and destroyed the Chiefs. Went right
Oh
at
yeah,
them defensively, offensively. They
yeah,
got physical, as you said. They were more. They were prepared. They
yes,
this they they were up 40-6. It was 34. It was 24-0 at halftime. Then it got up to 34-0 until the Chiefs scored, and by then it was over. And so yeah, it was just a dominant win. And in all phases of the game, they really, Jalen MVP really balled. The whole team, the defense they kept pressuring Mahomes. He couldn't do anything. He
They were
could not get
laser
loose.
focused, the Eagles. I
Laser
feel
focus
like
on him.
they were
They
just
yeah,
went
they
in
kept
there and
him.
handled their business.
Yeah, they kept him in that box, and then
Mhm.
they're like, "You're not going to beat us." Even when it was 24-0, and then the Chiefs got the ball in the second half, I'm like, "Okay, they're going to try to make a game out of this because this is Patrick Mahomes, it's Andy Reid, it's Travis Kelce. They're going to make a run." And when they didn't score, I was like, "Oh, okay." And then the Eagles scored again, and they scored again, and I was like, "Oh my
And
goodness,
it's
we
a,
really need to
sometimes
win."
people say in sports it's a mental game, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think maybe the Chiefs could have come back, but I think when you start to see 24-0, it starts to play with your mind a bit, and
yeah,
you do sort of get that defeatist kind of mood. So
yeah,
I feel like that's probably also played into it, the mental game with the team. Like
yeah.
when you start seeing like we couldn't make a play, nothing was sticking, and Mahomes was trying everything. I think too. He got tackled a couple times as well, the
Yes.
quarterback. So
Hmm.
that's also not good. It's like, where's your defense? They're supposed to be protecting you.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think there's a lot of issues with that game, and it would be interesting to hear. I know that they do press conferences after, but I don't think we've really got that sort of, you know, raw sort of what happened. Like that raw. I
yeah.
don't want to say raw truth, but from Mahomes, like just the opening up as, what do you think really happened
Happened.
there?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it wasn't like their normal style of
No.
play and their normal style of presence. They just kind of shrunk, and I don't know what happened. The Eagles won, but the Chiefs just, they were so quiet, in
Yeah.
play and sort of just their presence. They weren't there. I
They
don't
were.
know
It
if they
wasn't them.
checked
They
out,
weren't
but
themselves. They
yeah, they
definitely
weren't
weren't
themselves. So I
themselves.
would love to hear a little bit more about that
Yeah, I
at
would
some point.
too. I would too. Totally. Yeah, I would like to hear that too, and see what really happened. Because, like I said, it just seemed like the Chiefs were just unprepared, and we were just more laser focused and prepared, and became the better team
Mhm.
at that day. That day, we were the better team, and hey, we'll take it as Eagles fans. We'll take our
Yes.
second Super Bowl in the last 8 years. Why
Yep.
not? I love it. I loved every bit of it. As everything too. But this has been a pleasure once again.
Yes.
I've enjoyed talking with you. Like I said, we went an hour just about, so it was a lot of fun catching up with you and getting to know your experience with the Unrivaled and what you got coming up and things like that too. So yeah, my last question would be, what else you have coming in these next few months that you can announce? And thank you for again for coming on to the show. Really appreciate it, and let everyone know where they can follow you and your journey as well.
Yeah, so we have a series called Convos with the W, where we have conversations. We, go behind the scenes and talk to WNBA players across the league. We have about 5 videos shot already, so go on our YouTube
Okay.
channel.
Yeah.
It's like a video podcast, and you can hear from some of your favorite WNBA players. So we're going to continue with that series, interviewing different folks in the W. We love that series because it almost feels like you're on court with them, but you're on your couch. We're taking you right there. We're
Yeah.
asking them all the questions, and as I said earlier on the first time I was on your podcast, a lot of these women, they're doing great things off the court. Some of them have their own
Yes.
businesses. Some of them are, well, Nafisa is a co-founder of Unrivaled. So what you're going to learn from these players is, yes, they love the game and they're very competitive, but they're also doing other things outside of basketball that just kind of give you a little bit more insight into who they are. So follow us, follow that series on YouTube. We're going to continue interviewing great women, and in various sports, we've got an interview coming up with a young figure skater who is a BIPOC figure skater. You don't always see a lot of black and brown women in
Yeah.
ice skating, so we're going to feature her. And then our big event coming up in March. If anyone knows about event planning, it's a lot of work. So we're happy to bring people in person and bring these women together, in our community, and to talk about fashion and sports. And as I said, if you're in Toronto, come on out. We'd love to see you. If not, stay tuned for the content from that event, and you can follow us along on Instagram at Shes4Sports. We're on TikTok, and we do have a lot of content on YouTube as well.
All right. Follow Shes4Sports. Ainka Jess. Thank you. That is Ainka Jess on the show here on the Real Deal, and she's just giving her real deal as always. But yes, I really appreciate our friendship and our partnership, and the connection and networking we've done together. And for sure, if I was in Toronto, I definitely would be would be there in support. But I definitely will be supporting watching the content, sharing the content as well, with everything you got going on. So again, appreciate you and thank you again for doing this, and many blessings to you and in the family as well, and with your career as well.
Thanks a lot, Courtney. This has been fun again.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll do this again when WNBA season starts. We'll have to do like a pretty big preview show and see what we like about this upcoming season with the new expansion teams and Toronto Tempo coming up. In the next year, the
Yes.
next season coming up, and yeah, there was news that Cleveland might be getting the last spot. I
Yeah.
was kind of bummed because I thought Philadelphia was they were in the
Maybe
mix.
you're next. Hold on.
Yeah, maybe, man, maybe. But yeah, shout out there. Cleveland is getting a team as well, along with Portland in the next
Yes.
couple of years. So yeah, so there's a lot of big things happening in the women's sports, women's basketball, women's sports in general. So keep everyone tuned in for all the great content.
And I should also mention AU, Athletes Unlimited.
Yes,
That's
yes.
another
That's
league
going
for
on now.
women that
Hmm.
play during the off season of WNBA. So check
Yeah.
out if you're checking out Unrivaled, give some love to Athletes Unlimited as well.
Yes, athletes limited, of course. Yeah, that's another one that's huge too. All see this. I'm glad that the women have opportunities to play off season
Yes.
and really it's like more of their training and competition as well. So yeah, more opportunities, the better. The more opportunities, the better. That's what it's about. So all right, Inka, thank you again. I really appreciate it and enjoy the rest of the week.
Yeah, you have a great week too, Courtney.
All right,
Thanks a
you too.
lot.
Thank you. All right, you have a good one.